Hello, this is Rachel from the Shades of Orange. Today I want to review and recommend a book that I just finished reading and absolutely loved. That is I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Iain Reid. This is a literary suspense that I found absolutely compulsive. I read it in just a few short sittings because I could not put it down. I absolutely loved it. It's a shorter book, but it really packed a punch and is definitely a contender for my favorites of the year. All that being said, I'll tell you a little bit about the plot. Now, this is a story about a young couple who are taking a road trip to go to the family farm of the boy's parents. This will be the first time that they meet his girlfriend, and the story is told primarily from the girl's perspective, and even though meeting the parents is typically a sign of commitment, she is actually secretly thinking about ending things in the relationship. So a lot of the book is inside of her head as she goes back and forth between whether or not to end things or keep things going. This is a very thoughtful book that obviously explores a lot of ideas of relationships and who we are to another person. I found it very insightful and interesting and just found it all very compelling. At the same time, this book does go back with flashbacks to recount the beginnings of their relationship, how they first met and got together. So that is really all I want to say about the basic synopsis of this book. It's really a book that you need to go in and discover for yourself. It's best not to know too much beforehand, other than knowing that I just really liked it. One of the things I liked most about this book was the writing. I personally am a huge fan of a particular style of writing that is short and concise and not overly flowery, and his writing, Iain Reid's writing, just worked so well for me. I knew basically from page one that I was going to like this book because I just really liked that writing style. It's purposely repetitive, but in a very soothing way. I just was completely engaged. So if you're curious about picking it up, definitely check out a sample chapter. If you're like me, you'll be instantly hooked in and need to read the rest of the book immediately. The other aspect of this book that I completely loved was the tone, which was purposely very ominous and eerie and just unsettling. This is very much a book where you know that something is not quite right. There's something wrong with the story. I don't want to say what, but you just know the way the book is written that something is just off. Something is not quite as it seems to be, but you don't know what. And I just found the atmosphere around the book worked so well to create this eerie tone. The book, as I mentioned, is set over a ride in the car, but this ride takes place on a snowy winter evening, so it's dark, it's blizzarding, it's cold out, and all of these factors just make the book really weird. The farm itself had some really interesting details about it, and in terms of atmosphere, if you're looking for a book that's just rich in detail, this one was fantastic. I was completely enamored by it. Compulsive is the word that I keep wanting to describe this book as because it was so addicting. I just kept thinking about this book. When I wasn't reading it, all I wanted to do was pick it up again because it was so enticing, and I loved the entire book. Honestly, I just thought it was brilliant. So you can probably tell that I really like this book, but I do feel the need to caution you that while I completely adore this book and want to recommend it to everyone, I realize that this book is not necessarily for every single person. It has surprisingly low ratings on Goodreads, which I don't totally understand, but obviously it means that other people do not connect with this book as much as I do. I admit that my reading tastes have become very niche, and this book just kind of fits all the Rachel boxes of things that I just love in books. But while I completely love this book, other people need to make their own decisions about it, but personally I do recommend it. I know for other friends on Goodreads, they were able to guess what was going on, which lessened the ambiguity of this book. However, while I was not able to guess the twist, quote unquote, of the book, I still would have really enjoyed it even if I had guessed it, because for me this is a book that's very much about the reading experience, not about some surprise ending. It's just was a book that I loved from beginning to end, and even though I've now read it and understand the full concept behind the book, it just makes me want to go back and reread it again. This is absolutely a book I'm going to buy, and I just love it. I want to have as many other people read it as possible. And while it's not for everyone, I definitely think there's got to be more readers like myself who will absolutely love it. And I just encourage you to pick it up. It's short. It's not a big time commitment, but it's definitely a book that's going to pack a punch. It's probably a book that I'm going to be thinking about for a really long time, and again, I just want to reread it because I found it such an addicting experience, and I love the writing. I want to read whatever Iain Reid comes out with next. I would love to read it, and just cannot recommend this book enough. So those are my gushing thoughts on I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Iain Reid. Please let me know if you are also thinking about picking it up, or if you've already read it. I'd love to know your thoughts, good or bad. I'd love to know what you thought of this novel. If you need to talk about spoilers, please don't put them in the comments, but instead message me via Twitter or Goodreads so we can keep the comments totally spoiler free. But I really enjoyed this one, and I really need to talk about it with more people. So again, please share your thoughts, and I will talk to you again soon with another video. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, bye-bye.